Welcome to SPSS. This video will provide a guide for you on how to start using SPSS. Once you open your SPSS software package, you will notice on the interface there is a place we have data view, and there's also another place where we have variable view. So I would like to introduce you to some things you will be expected to get familiar with. So on the variable view, which I will dwell on this video, you have a space for name, type, the width, decimal, label, value, missing, columns, align, measure, and row. So in this video, I will be explaining what each of those things mean, especially those ones that are very important. Now the name here is, you have different variables if you are using your questionnaire or the instrument you are about to code. So you need to identify the name you will use for that variable, and I will just give some guidelines in choosing your name, because for SPSS there are some special character you will not be able to enter when you are entering your name. So the first thing you must know is the variable name must be unique. And what do I mean by unique? If I have gender, I must not also use another name referred to as gender. So if I'm trying to do this, you notice that there is a signal there that this variable name duplicates an existing variable name. So you must use a unique name. That's first instruction in naming your variable. Another instruction is you must begin with a letter and not a number. So if I have another variable which is school name, I can start by using to school. So if I do this, you will see the prompt I will get. Variable name contains an illegal false character. So that I've mentioned two rules. The first one is your variable name must be unique. Then the other one also is that you must not start with a number. Then another thing you also need to know as regarding your variable name is that you can use a blank or full stop or special character. So at times you may want to start with using full stop or using a space. Your SPSS will not allow you to do that. Take for instance, if I want to start by using hyphen or underscore hyphen school, you will notice I also received the same prompt. So that is why at times if you are trying to name your variable, you are just seeing a prompt that what you are entering is the variable is not being successful. So just take note of these instructions. Then another thing you also need to consider in doing that is that for SPSS version 12, you can only use 64 characters. So it's very important. And what we mean by 64 character is the length of the variable name. But when it comes to other earlier version, which is below version 12, you can only use 8 characters. So depending on the version of SPSS you are using. So if your own SPSS is below version 12, your variable name can only be 8 character. But if you are using the SPSS of version 12 upward, your variable name can be 64 characters. So another thing I will also introduce you to here is we have a place we have decimal. Now in case you enter your data and you want it to be in decimal place, probably 2 decimal or 3 decimal, what you need to do is just set this place to the decimal you intend to use. If it is 2 decimal, now if I have 2 decimal here, if I go back to my data view, you will notice if I enter anything like 2, it will give me 2 decimal place. So the only thing I can do if I want it to be a whole number is to go back to variable view, change the decimal to 0. So in case you want to have a whole number and you are not making use of decimal place, you can just set your decimal to 0. Then this label is just to add additional additional comments about your variable. Now gender here, I can decide to add that gender, either they are male or female. So I can put something like this just to show the comment. Now when we come to value, I will have to explain some things here. There is a need for you to assign value, especially when you are dealing with categorical variable, because on SPSS you need to identify various type of variable. We have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Now, so for this purpose, one of the things you have to do when you are dealing with your questionnaire or your instrument is to look at it. This variable, what type of variable it is. Is it a nominal variable? Is it ordinal? Is it interval? Is it ratio? But the beautiful thing about SPSS is both interval and ratio are classified as under interval scale, under scale on SPSS. So you don't need to disturb yourself if you are dealing with interval or ratio scale. So you need to identify nominal, ordinal, and the one that falls on scale on SPSS. So for gender, you will realize that gender is comprises of male and female. And for male and female, they are not greater than each other. It's either you are a male or you are a female. So in working on SPSS, under your variable, you will have to assign value for this gender. So I can decide to assign 1 and I will put male. So what SPSS will recognize when I do this is that the moment I enter 1 on my data view, it will denote male. So I will click on add. So for the second person, which is female, I will use 2 and I will also enter female. So when you are done doing this, you click on OK. So you come to where you have your measure. Now you will realize what I've explained earlier, that we have scale, ordinal, and nominal. So for this type of variable, which is gender, it falls under nominal. And the reason for that is both male and female, they are not greater than each other. So I would like to also use another illustration. Now if we have socio-economic status, if that is part of your variable, so you will enter the name socio. I can just use socio-eco. So I can decide to come here and write it in full. Socio-economic status. Now for my socio-economic status, I want to use medium, high, medium, low. So first thing I will do is, this is no longer nominal because both of them are not, the three of them are not in the same level. So I will do something different here, and I also need to consider how greater they are. So because if you have high, medium, low, one is greater than each other. So the lowest will be the least number. So my 1 will be for low. I will add. Then 2 will be for medium. Then 3 will be for high. Then you click on OK after assigning value. So you come to this measure. So under measure, you are going to see these 3 types of variables: scale, ordinal, and nominal. So if you look at the symbols we have for them, we notice this is showing to us that it is on same scale, while the other one, ordinal, is like a step. So the step is telling us that one is higher than each other. And looking at low, medium, and high, it is higher than each other. So you click on ordinal. This will make your variable to. Now what SPSS will do, coming back here, is that if I enter 1 on my data view under socio-eco, which is socio-economic status, SPSS will recognize it as low. And if I also enter medium, which is, if I enter 2, SPSS will recognize it as medium. And if I enter 3, SPSS will recognize it as high. So I will also like to consider another one more variable type, which will serve as the other one. So if I have test score, now if I want to do this test score, if I put space, you will realize that SPSS will tell me that I can't go ahead. Variable name contains an illegal character, and that is because of the space. So what you have to do if you are going to do test score is you can simply use test then underscore score. So it will work out this way. Now when you come to test score, you will realize that test score is going to be a continuous variable, and when it is continuous, you are not going to assign value here because test score can either be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you will come under measure and you will click on scale. So the variables you will be using on SPSS either fall on nominal, ordinal, or scale. So just identify the type of variable you are given and you know if it is measure, if it is nominal, if it is ordinal, if it is scale. And if it is nominal or ordinal, you have to assign value. And the assigned value is just going to tell you that whatsoever you put under your data view, if it is 1, it will denote what you have assigned for 1 under that variable. So this will be a brief step on how to name your variable and the instruction to follow in naming your variable.